Howdy everyone, welcome back to my Fusion 360 tutorials for CAD modeling. So today we'll be learning the basics of creating components and bodies within your Fusion 360 workspace. As you can see here, I have a lot of complex components set up, and once you learn the basics, this will be an easy next step. So to begin with, we'll select New Design by going to this plus icon here. Once you click on it, it'll open a new tab, and now you see you have your empty workspace and your toolbar set up here. To create our component, we'll go to this Create toolbar and select New Component. Once you see here, you'll see a bar open up where you have a lot of different values to change. Although we won't change anything now, there's some values here that'll prove useful in future tutorials. For now, we'll just name our component Try1. The next thing that you want to edit is Parent. Your parent component is what this component logs under. So for right now, we just want it to be an independent component. And to do that, we'll click this X icon here, click this Select button, and click here to log it under our entire workspace. This creates an independent component that does not rely on any other components. Next, you want to click Activate and make sure this is checked. This makes sure that your component is active once you create it. This From Bodies tab only applies when you have a body already set up in your workspace. Since we don't have any there, we'll leave this unchecked. We'll select OK, and you'll see a new Component tab open up. To create our component, we'll start with the most basic way of creating it, which is by going to our Create tab and selecting Create Sketch. To select Create Sketch, you'll see three axes open up. Your Y-axis, which is this green bar, your Z-axis, which is this blue bar, and your X-axis, which is this red bar. For right now, since we're just doing a simple sketch, we'll select the ZX axis on the bottom of the graph. To go here, we'll now have a sketch opened up, and our sketch palette opened up as well. Our sketch palette details the parameters within which we'll edit our sketch. For right now, don't change anything here, because these are important values. The only thing you want to make sure of is this snap value. This snap value allows you to select your mouse on squares and make sure you're editing to precise values without having to go through too much trouble. Make sure that's checked, and now you can go to your Create toolbar where you'll see a different value set up. You also have Modify and some constraints. We won't mess around with these now since I'll do another tutorial on how to make complex sketches. For right now, we'll just make a rectangle. Once you select rectangle, you'll see feature options open up in your sketch palette. You have a 2-point rectangle, a 3-point rectangle, and a center rectangle. For now, we'll just stick with a 2-point rectangle. A 3-point rectangle sets up 3 points with which you'll edit your rectangle, and the center rectangle specifies a center point and a radius with which you'll edit your rectangle. Since we're just going with a 2-point rectangle, we'll just select a button here, and since our snap option is available, our mouse will snap to direct points on the canvas. Since we want a square, we'll go here, and then go directly diagonally over here. As you can see, we had 25 and 25 pop up, which is our millimeter value for the length and width of our rectangle. You see we already have constraints here for vertical and horizontal lines, and now we can click Finish Sketch since this is all we want to do for now. With that, it puts us into our orthographic view, and we can see our sketch and move it around in 360 workspace by clicking Shift and the middle mouse button to rotate around a certain point, and just press the middle mouse button to pan along your workspace. That's the basics of moving around your workspace. So for now, we'll move on to creating our shape. To create our shape, we'll click on this face, go to our Create toolbar, go down to Extrude, and click. There's a lot of different options there that I'll teach you how to use in future tutorials, but for now we'll do the easiest thing, which is Extrude. To extrude, you'll see a set of components pop up, which is this arrow here that details how high you want your component to go, and an angle which creates either a cone, inverse, or outwards. We want to keep this to New Body here in our Extrude pane. Our new body we can select either new body or new component, but since we want it to be a body within our component, we'll just select new body. These three tools here are when you're creating two bodies within a component and you want to join them in a certain way. I'll show you how to do that in future tutorials, but for now, we'll just keep it simple. You want to keep all these values the same, but I'll teach you how to use them in future tutorials. Next, we'll click OK. And now you can see we have our basic component here. And if we go to our toolbar here, you see we have our component. And if we click on this arrow here, we have origin, which is a workspace, bodies, which is this body here. As you can see, if we click on it, it highlights that body. Our sketches, which is our base sketch. And if you click on that, you'll see our sketch at the bottom here that we extruded. You can also see in our timeline that I explained in my first video, our sketch and our extrusion. This is very useful when you have a lot of steps done and you want to edit your sketch. You can just go to these tabs in your timeline and edit them. That's all for today, but stay tuned for a lot more tutorials on how to use CAD modeling.